Hello and welcome back to another episode of MCW Local to Global, and we are back for another Midlands Mayhem and MCW Live, and we have of course got our new champion. If you haven't seen it in the last episode, go and check that out, because our new champion is Rebecca Knox, defeating Jacqueline Moore. As I explained in the last episode, the main reason for that was Jacqueline was never meant to win the title. She won it on an audible against Brittany, and then Jacqueline was also due to retire, so we had to get the title off her. So we brought Rebecca Knox in, who'd just come back from a absence, and she's come in and won the title. And hopefully nothing goes wrong with her title reign. And meanwhile, on the men's side, we have still got Lionheart as champion. However, challenges are building up for him. So if you are happy to hear that the series is still going, please do leave a like down below. Let me know how long you think it will be until we get a TV deal. Who do you think should dethrone Lionheart? I've got a number of people, and some of them will be making their case in today's episode. Subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and let's jump into the first show, MCW Midlands Mayhem. We're going out of the Saddlers Club and expecting at least 196 fans. And we opened the show actually in front of 202 people here, so it's a good job we did change venue, because our other ones were only running up to 200 people. Rebecca Knox opens the show saying now that she's champion, she's going to straight away issue an open challenge, and it's Jetta who accepts it. And in a opening bout, a decent match that gets a 34 rating, Rebecca Knox defeats Jetta in 8:55 by submission with a 4-leg clover, making defense number 1 of her title. It wasn't great because they don't click, which is a shame. And the main reason we did an open challenge, Rebecca Knox still rusty from her time away from the business, so she's still needing a few more matches under her belt to get back to being, well, ring ready, I suppose, rather than ring rusty. So hopefully we can get her through that. So we'll be featuring her quite a bit, not necessarily always in title matches though. We will do some other stuff as well. And then following that, we have Marty Skull and Zack Sabre Jr. just saying that Zack Sabre Jr. is rightfully next in line for a title shot against Lionheart, and that gets a 28 rating. But as I mentioned before, we will be seeing a few people making their cases tonight. After that, we go back into the ring, and a bout that had a decent reaction but embarrassing wrestling. That's unfortunate. Joanna Hawaii defeats Chris Brooks in 8:25. It only gets a rating of 19. Joe with an in-ring performance of 7, so hopefully we'll be able to get him improving throughout his time here, because we want him to be quite a big star for us, hopefully, and kind of hoping WWE don't come and snatching him up too soon, because in real life this is probably about the time they were signing him. After that, we just see him standing tall in the ring. He's dominant in his first MCW match and looks like he might be a dangerous man going forward. After that, we go into the ring again, and in a bout that had decent wrestling but not much heat, Big Damo defeats Martin Kirby in 5:42 by pinfall with an Ulster Plantation, getting a segment rating of 36. Martin Kirby with a 41, Big Damo with a 22. That gets the crowd a bit hotter, and after the match, in a 22 rated segment, Zach, Knight and Dave Mastiff come out to tell Damo he needs to prepare Roy, because at MCW Live there will be a tag team match. And the stipulation of this match is very simple. If Roy and Big Damo win, Roy gets one more shot at Zach Knight's title, and that time there will be no excuses. Zach Knight cannot get disqualified, he cannot get counted out, he cannot have interference. However, Zach Knight doesn't know that just yet. Following that, we go back into the ring for our main event, a decent match. Lethal Injection, Pac and Rampage Brown defeat the Highlanders in 14:05 when Pac pinned Robbie McAllister with a shooting star leg drop. That would be absolutely sick. That would be an amazing move. And the match gets a rating of 49, so a decent ending to the show. And afterwards, Pac and Rampage say no one is getting Lionheart before they do. So a few little conflicts going on here where multiple people are making their shouts for the title. We've got Zack Sabre Jr. with the backing of Marty Scurll. Pac and Rampage saying they want a title shot. Joe came in and on his debut speared Lionheart at the end of New Year's Beatdown, so he clearly has his mind on the title. So we're going to go through Joe and Hawaii. We're going to give him some encouragement. Wasn't a great match, but hopefully we can help him out with that. Then Martin Kirby, we're going to compliment on a good performance. Although he lost, he did do well in that. And we'll also point Pac out as a good example. And they should all be pleased with that. They are indeed. So let's go and jump over to MCW Live, where we already know one of our matches. And we return for our second show of the episode, MCW Live. We are in front of 120 people at the Sudbury Leisure Centre. We've gone down to Southern England to try and get a boost of popularity down there. And in our opening match, in a decent bout, Rebecca Knox and the Sweet Sensations, Saraya and Alex Windsor, defeat Stacey Baby and the Blossom Twins in 9 minutes 10 when Rebecca Knox submits Stacey Baby with a armbar. In terms of in-ring work, Rebecca Knox was head and shoulders above everybody else, so it appears that ring rust is gone because Rebecca Knox getting a rating of 57 in-ring performance. So hopefully that means we don't need to keep putting her in matches now, and we can use her more sparingly if she's going to be ready to go now. That is a great opening match, getting a rating of 43. So let's see what we can follow that up with. We have Lionheart saying he's happy to defend against Zack or Rampage. They can fight for the right to face him. So that is going to be booked in for MCW Midlands Mayhem. We're going to see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Rampage Brown, with the winner getting a shot at Lionheart at some point in the near future. That gets a rating of 32. And after that, we go back into the ring in a bout that had subpar wrestling and little heat. Joe Coffey defeats Robbie McAllister in 6:56 when Robbie McAllister got intentionally disqualified. So after the Coffeys got disqualified during the tag team match, Robbie ends up taking it a bit too far in their little singles rematch. You know, they attacked Rory in particular last time, so he just loses it with Joe, keeps attacking him, and then Mark Coffey gets involved and they manage to attack Robbie. However, we then have Rory come out as a bit of backup, chases off the Coffey brothers, gets a few shots in on them as they do. The reason Klondike Kate's here is purely because it was still in my list that she was waiting to debut her gimmick and it was doing my head in. She's a road agent, so it doesn't really matter. But we just wanted to get that out of the way. So she had a little cameo performance in there. Following that, we have the Blossom Twins saying flat out, it was Stacey's fault that we lost. We wouldn't lose a tag match ourselves. So we're happy to compete in tag team action. We are not competing in 6-man tags where we have to rely on these absolute peasants around us. And then we go back into the ring, and in a bout that had subpar wrestling and little heat, Kaylee Ray defeats Connie Steele in 8:06 with a reverse code red, and that gets a 27 rating, so a pretty decent match out of these two. Connie Steele getting a initial rating of great for her gimmick. She's a 16-year-old who we've just brought in as just to bulk out the roster a little bit. It's only on $20 a show. So nice and cheap option for us as well. And coming in, she's done a decent job there. She's a decent wrestler already, and at 16 hopefully we can develop her into being quite a good wrestler with time. After that though, the lights go out and Eden Black appears, laying out Kaylee Ray. Eden Black's been a bit of an outsider in MCW. We've only used her very, very sparingly, and she's just won the title in Pro Wrestling Eve, so I thought she's obviously doing something right. Let's bring her in a bit more. And she makes a statement attacking Kaylee Ray after her match. And I believe next we have Ricky Knight, indeed, in a 15 rating. That is awful. But Ricky Knight telling Zack, as I confirmed earlier in the episode, if he loses, he will face Roy again. and this time there will be no DQ, there will be no counter, and there will be no interference. What that means, we're not entirely sure, because how can Ricky confirm there won't be any interference? Well, will he even need to? And he does, because in our main event, in a decent match, Roy Knight and Big Damo defeat Zak Knight and Dave Mastiff, when Roy Knight pins Zak Knight with a roll-up after a miscommunication between Zak and Dave. What I'm kind of thinking is, at the end of the match, Dave's got Roy in a vulnerable position. Zak tags himself in. Dave turns around and, is a bit annoyed about him, pushes Zak, who then gets straight into a roll-up by Roy Knight, gets the pin, flash pinfall. No idea it was coming. Zak and Dave show excellent chemistry when teaming together. That's interesting, because after the match, in a 25 rated segment, Zak is getting into Dave Mastiff's face, and in the end, slaps him, and then gets laid out, put in the corner, cannonballed into. So it's not a face turn for Mastiff, but he's just making clear, I'm in this for myself, and maybe Dave had been promised something if he got the win for Zak. Doesn't manage to do so, but he does lay Zak out afterwards, which means at some point in the future we will get Zak versus Roy Knight. However, we end the show with a 38 rating, increases our popularity once again. We'll tell Connie, what should we do? We can compliment her on a good performance for her debut. Rebecca Knox, we will point out as a good example, because she's clearly doing well now that she's back from her ring rust, and Dave Mastiff can be praised for a great performance, and they're all happy with that. And so we end up with 23 rating in the Midlands, 10 in Northern and Southern England respectively. So we are 5 ratings in those regions away from being able to potentially get a TV deal. It'll be very interesting if we can get that. But if you have enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Let me know who you think will dethrone Lionheart. Will it be one of Zack Sabre Jr. or Rampage Brown? Who do you think will win their match? Subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and thank you very much for watching.